Hi, guys, and welcome back to episode 15 of Let's Talk About It. We have the beautiful Bella Cherie back in the building today. Hi, Bella. How are
Hey,
you?
I'm good.
Good. You look so quiet and shy. I know you're not shy. You should be used to this by now.
I am. I'm shy. Very much so shy.
That's okay. That's okay. So we're here, guys. If you've been keeping up with Bella Cherie, she's been here, talking about her live diary of Bella Cherie, and we want to go ahead and do a continuation of part two. So today we're going to be finishing up part two and going into co-parenting slash relationships with your children and so forth. All right, you ready?
Mhm.
All right. Now
I'm
let's get started. So let me ask you the question. Can you tell us a little more about your relationship with your children's father at this point?
um at this point,
Mm-hmm. At this point, or then, now, however you want to go into it. Like say for instance, you was telling us the story about how the kids, y'all, was this a mutual agreement that you and the child's father made to have the children, you know, go with him, or just it just happened?
um it was somewhat of that. It
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was somewhat mutual.
Okay. Okay.
I guess I would say I can well, this is how it kind of came about.
Okay. Come on, I'm listening, girl. Let's tell our story.
After the breakup where they was with me, and for some years it was just me and them.
Mm.
And then a few years ago he had asked me if they can come stay with him, and I was like, no. Because in my head it's like, if you left me with them, you know what I mean, like why would I let them come stay with you?
Right.
But
Right.
like I said in the last episode, like I was in my feelings. But what mother would be so easily, they'd be like, okay, they can come, you know what I mean?
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's not, I don't feel like that's always like a easy decision. Not even if my personal feelings wasn't involved, I probably would have still said no, because like I done had them all
Right.
this time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so but it was mutual. I said no the first one or two times he asked, and then, you know, once I start seeing my son become a teenager and I start noticing that there's going to be things that he needs to get from his father, and I knew he needed to spend more time with his father. He wanted to spend more time with his father, so that I had already been considering it
Right.
of them going to live with him. It's just I had to build up the courage to do it because
Right.
I really didn't want to do it.
Right. Right. So did that affect you in any type of way? I mean, did it make you feel sad? Did it just were you mad? I mean, how did it affect you?
At the beginning, when because they've been with him for 3 years, the
Okay.
last 3 years,
Okay.
and in the beginning, it was really hard because
Mhm.
it just been me and them all these years,
Right.
so it was really hard for me, and I cried a lot
Oh,
while they were gone.
yeah.
I cried a lot because it's like I don't have nobody to talk to.
Right. Right.
I had nobody to bond with, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like my kids was always there. And but I needed that.
Right.
That I needed that alone time. I needed to sit in silence for a good bit to get my thoughts together and start working on myself, because I felt like I was slipping back into depression,
Right.
just dealing with a bunch of stuff by
Right.
myself,
Right. Right.
not really having nobody to count on or no help or anything.
Absolutely.
Not that he wasn't helping with them, it was overwhelming.
Okay. Yeah.
Working 12-hour shifts 7 days a week, and then coming home and then trying to be a mother, like trying to cook and make sure they have their homework done, then going to these ISP meetings for my daughter, going to my son football practice, trying to make it to his games, and just I had him in a mentorship program to try to keep him around, like guys that were positive and
Right.
that can influence him in a more positive way and stuff like that. So I had them in things and just trying to juggle it all together,
Right. Right.
very overwhelming. And
Yeah.
then just trying to work on stuff for myself. But
Yeah.
it's like, well, I can't do too much because, I got
Right.
to do this for the kids, or I have the kids, or I can't, you know what I mean?
I
It
get
was just a bunch of stuff. So it actually worked out pretty good,
okay.
pretty
Awesome.
good.
Well,
But
that's
yeah,
so. Can you share a little with us about your children?
yeah, my Deucey.
Oh,
Well, Zanaya's the oldest. So
okay.
I guess I'll start with Zanaya. I was I got pregnant with her when I was 22,
Okay.
and that pregnancy was like a very hard, stressful pregnancy. It was my first child I'll be having. Me and their father wasn't getting along. And
Right.
then I found out, about my biological father. And so we end up breaking up when I was around about five, 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I'm not taking care of this baby by myself.
Right.
I don't know if this man finna be here, help me take care of this child. So I'm finna take my ass to Miami. And
Right.
I'm finna go where I know I'll have help
Right.
at. So I
Right.
went to Miami, and that's when I went and found my biological father.
Okay.
And he was like, don't do what your mother did. Give him an opportunity to be a father.
Okay.
Don't just not give him a chance. And so I thought about that. And then I just thought about like a whole bunch of stuff like, well, I don't went all these years and didn't have a father.
Right.
Like
Right.
that that did something to me. So don't do that to your child. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I moved back to Colombia, and it still wasn't all that good. It was just a miserable pregnancy. But if it wasn't for my other best friend,
Right.
Kihara, like she went to all my doctor's appointments with me.
Yeah.
And then once I had Zanaya, well, I was in labor for 2.5 weeks. Well, I was having contractions for two and a
Okay.
half weeks.
Ooh.
And they couldn't figure out why they couldn't stop the contractions.
Right.
So I was in the hospital for those 2.5 weeks. And then my birthday came, and I just been in so much pain like every day. So I was like, I just want to go home for my birthday. I want to
Right.
get out of the
Right.
hospital and I want to go home. And so the doctor let me go home the next day. And then they got so bad to where I was like, I got to go back to the hospital. And so that next day, they did an ultrasound to see like what was going on because I still wasn't dilating or anything, but my contractions was like every 5 minutes.
Right.
And they did an ultrasound, and the nurse was like, I got to go get the doctor. So I was like, all right, well, you know what's going on. She was like, well, the doctor will have to talk to you. So I was like, okay. So he came in there and he said that your daughter, we have to do an emergency C-section. Your daughter has, I can't remember exactly what it was. But anyway, her intestines, her stomach and all that stuff didn't, it never closed up.
Wow.
So they wheeled me in, did an emergency C-section. Like I didn't even get to see her. They just wheeled her past, and
Right.
she like all this stuff around her, so I couldn't see her. And she was in surgery for some hours. And when she got out of surgery, they came in there and told me I couldn't see her then, and that she was going to end up having to have another surgery. So it was like hours later, maybe the next day, to
Mhm.
where I was able to see her.
Yeah.
And that was already hard for me because
Right.
she was premature.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor was explaining to me that she might come out being retarded. I don't like saying retarded, but
Yeah, I don't like that word.
he's like just a heads up, or she might, be artistic, just giving me all these disabilities that
Right,
she might end up having.
right.
And so then with that, she spent 5.5 months in a hospital before I can bring her home.
Wow.
And the last 2 months, I like lived in a hospital with her because they had to transfer her to a different hospital. And that right there was depressing. I'm young.
Right, that's
This
right. I
first
can imagine.
child I'm having, and then
Hmm.
it's like doctors all day just in and out the room, explaining all this stuff to me that I have no idea of what they're talking about.
Right,
And so my aunt Pat, which I'm so grateful for her, because one of the nurses came once they was once she was able to start having visitors,
right.
like just immediate family to be able to come in and see her. One
Hmm.
of the nurses was like, make sure you come up here every day and spend time with your child, because the doctors, they look at that, the fact that
Right.
you're young
Hmm.
and the fact that she's having so many complications. They want to make sure, because they didn't think she was going to make it,
Right.
because they told me that it was a chance that she was going to die.
Oh,
And
wow.
so she said that they look at that and they watch how you bond with your child, because they want to make sure you're going to be able to take care of your child. So
Hmm.
the more you come up here, the quicker it is she'll be able to go home. So
Right.
I didn't have a car at the time, and me and her father wasn't together and still really not getting along. So my aunt Pat, she took me to the hospital every day and she sat up there with me, and that I'm so grateful for, because I was like kind of out of it.
Right. Yeah.
I was out of it, and she would go up there and like read to her, and because we couldn't touch her or hold her or anything, and she would just, she really helped me a lot, because I think at that time I went into depression.
Hmm.
Like I was like the doctors would be talking to me and I'll just be like zoned out. So I heard them, but I didn't hear anything they
Right.
said.
Right.
So she had like her own notebook where she took her notes. And every doctor appointment, she had her questions. She had her
Right.
own baby book
Right.
for her,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I was like real grateful
Yeah.
for her. I probably have, I wouldn't have been ready for her to come home
Oh,
or prepared, and she helped me get prepared for her.
right.
So I really appreciate her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Living in that hospital for those 2 months, it was, I never got a break. Like it was just me up there every day, and
Right.
here and there somebody else would come sit up there for a couple of hours, but it was just me every day, all day.
Right.
Doctor in and out the room all day. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Hmm.
After a while, they knew she was gonna make it. She had altogether 4 surgeries, and she had a seizure like after every surgery. She had a feeding tube.
Hmm.
She had all type of tubes like all over her, but she came out alive and
That's
strong
right.
and fighting
Yeah.
and feisty. And now, she has a learning disability, so she just turned 19, and
Wow.
she's very like becoming overwhelming,
Right.
because for a long time it took her a long time to start talking.
Right.
And so now she's starting to comprehend things, but she's also had like a hard time. She been like, since she been in school, she always been in special education classes.
Right.
And she has the ISP meetings and stuff, and that she struggled with that, because she didn't know it was something wrong with her, because I never treated her
Hmm.
like it was something wrong with her.
Hmm.
And so she didn't notice that she was a little different until middle school.
Okay.
But she was like, Mom, why all the kids changing classes? Why I'm not changing classes? Why I'm in this
Right.
class? Or
Yeah.
why I'm in this class with these
Mhm.
kids like doing this and acting like this and stuff
Right.
like that. So I try to, explain to her the best way I can without saying certain things to make her feel less of who
Right.
she is. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Hmm.
And she still really didn't get it. And then when she got in high school, because all these years she been in school, she always got like bullied or picked at. So I was very overprotective of her.
Yes.
And that bothered me, just seeing her go through that, because I couldn't be there with her like all day.
Right. All day. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I always just encouraged her to like always stick up for herself and just try to block people out and not believe what nobody say about her, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
she's super smart and intelligent in so many other ways. Like outside of school stuff,
Mm-hmm.
she she she's so dope. Like she has this gift. She has a gift where she can connect with, you know, our loved ones that's not here.
Right. Right.
Because there's plenty of times, that she would come to me and give me like a message from my father.
Mm-hmm.
And that it scared me the first time
Right.
she did. But it's like anytime that I would be thinking about him, or just, having a moment and feeling sad and stuff while thinking about him, it's like she'll just come out of nowhere and just say certain things. And I knew that was like a message from him.
Right. Right.
Just like her uncle Ducey.
Mm-hmm.
I was 4 months pregnant when Ducey passed away, and she used to wake up. She did this like a few times when she was like younger. She used to wake up like in the middle of the night and she'll just be crying and crying. And
Mm.
I'll be like, "What's wrong?" And she'd be like, "I just miss my Uncle Ducey." And the first time she did, I was like, "But you never met your Uncle Ducey. Like he
Right.
passed away while I was pregnant with you." She was like, "Yes, I did." And I was like, "No, you really did." And she was like, "Ma, I met my Uncle Ducey. I want to see my Uncle Ducey." And so I was like, maybe because I showed them pictures,
Right.
but then one night she described this man's funeral, and she said who was sitting by who and who was doing what.
What?
And that like scared the shit out of me.
Wow. I can imagine.
I said- And I called their father and I was like, "We have any pictures of like Ducey funeral, like on the inside?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "Anybody else have some?" He was like, "I don't think so." And I remember I was like, "Zanaya just talked about this man's funeral as if she was there. And she been, waking up in the middle of the night crying, saying that she missed her Uncle Ducey." And so that's when I realized, and then just her giving me messages from my father, I realized like she has this gift. And what's so beautiful about it is I have that same gift. Like I also see things, and I don't really talk about it because it scares me. But what I
Right.
love about my daughter is that she has like no fear in her.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like she knows the power she holds. And so for her to just connect with that,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's amazing, because I'd be scared of the stuff I see. And I don't want to, tell nobody, because people quick to call you crazy and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I keep it to myself, but I'm like, my daughter has that gift because we both Scorpios.
Right.
Well, Scorpios, that is. Her birthday 4 days after mine, so it's
I
like
know.
that's
Yes.
partner right there. But yeah, just like when they was just home for Thanksgiving, they most of their clothes are at their father's house, but she still has some. They have clothes here, and I had empty out all their dressers because I have like so many clothes, and I'm like, since they not here that much, let me use their dresses too.
Right.
And so she went up there and took a shower and went in her dresser. She was like, "Mom, you got like all your stuff in my dresser. Where my clothes at and stuff like that." And so she took a t-shirt of mine that has my homeboy's picture on it. My homeboy Hut. He passed away a few years ago, and it has his picture on it. And she was like, "Mom, remember he used to call me White Feet?" And I was like, "Yeah, because she read the
Right.
bottom of
Right.
the
Right.
like, he's like, he used to call me White Feet." And I said, "Yeah." And she was like, "Can I keep this shirt?" I was like, "Well, yeah, but my name is on it." She was like, "I don't care, Mom. I want to keep this shirt."
Wow.
"Yeah, that was my dog, Mom. That was my dog." And this was she was like 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
And I was like, "You remember him?" She was like, yeah, Ma, he called me white feet. So I was like, yeah. She told me, he doing all right. I said, he doing all right. It's like, he passed away. She told me, Ma, I know, but he okay. He doing all right. And she just walked off and looked up like at the ceiling and started smiling. And I was like,
So amazing.
he all right. You
Amazing.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she be connected with, what I mean, whoever, I guess. I
Wow.
don't know, but she's something special and Ducey.
This-
Ducey. My kids, I tell you, I love them to death. He like this cool, laid back type of guy. He is a mixture of his father and his uncle Ducey and his granddaddy. Like they all just laid back and
Mhm.
cool. He's a mixture of all them, but to me, he is more of Ducey, his uncle,
Mhm.
than he is of his father and his granddaddy.
Right.
I feel like he's carrying his uncle's spirit.
Right.
You know what I mean? He when he was a baby, he looked it more like his uncle than
Wow.
he did his father. And the older he got, he started to look more like his father. But I feel like he every bit of his
Right.
uncle.
Right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that guy is he very observant. He don't talk too much. You never really know how he feels because he don't like expressing himself really, but he has such a kind heart and he loves like helping people and stuff like that. They both do. They both are very loving and caring kids.
There.
Yeah, my
Mm.
baby.
Your babies. Oh my goodness. I love them both too.
They love you too.
Oh my
Well,
gosh. And your daughter is every spitting image of you, honey. That's your twin. You get
that's
that
what
often?
everybody say, but like I don't. Everybody tells me that, but I don't. I don't like see it. I really don't know
Oh,
who
huh?
my daughter looks like. Like my son looks like his father and uncle, but my daughter, I really don't know who Zanaya look like. I think she has a little bit of Ace in her.
Right.
And I think she has like my smile.
She
You
does.
know what I mean?
Yeah, she does.
Other than that, I really don't know who she looked like. But everybody said it's me, so I'm
Yes,
guessing.
it's you. So if everybody's saying it, you are the one that's not getting it yet. This is something
Right.
wrong.
Yeah.
No, but she does look like you. Yeah, she's every bit of you. Oh my God. So going further, what type of advice do you give your children, especially in these days and times, or just period?
I always tell them to like believe in themselves. And if whatever it is that they want to do, to like do it and be consistent with it
Yeah.
and take it serious
Hmm.
and be good at it. The best
Right.
like you could be at it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I always try to instill in them just to, always be good to people, the good and bad people. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
Don't never let nobody take you out of your character
That's right.
and try, to be aware of the friends you surround yourself with. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Watch their body language, like study them, because
Yes.
I'm always studying people, and
Hmm.
I'll explain like why I study people, but I'm
Right.
always studying people. So I'm like, nah, study these so-called friends, because you know what I mean.
Yes.
Everybody's kind of in it for themselves. I'm like,
Hmm.
you watch their body language, watch the
Hmm.
conversations that they have with you,
Yes.
watch the conversation, listen to the conversations that they have with other people. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Pay
it.
attention to what they invite you to and what they invite other people to.
Yes.
Pay
That's true.
attention to the things that they try to get you into. You know what I mean? Knowing
Hmm.
that they may
Hmm.
not be you as a person. Like watch that.
Right.
Watch their
Right.
actions. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
You
Sure
have.
their actions match up with their words.
Hmm.
My daughter would. Zanaya doesn't really have friends. Like she feels like nobody want to be her friend and nobody like her. And I guess because she been picked at and bullied for so many years, it's like she'll tell me like I'm her only friend.
Oh,
And she has their father had another child, so she loves her little sister. So me and her little sister are like her friend.
amazing.
But Deucey, he has a few friends, and he's like one of those ride or die friends. And I'm like, son, your friend did what? And
Right,
he did.
right, right,
Nah, that's not how that goes.
right.
If your friend doing something that he know he shouldn't be doing and he get in trouble for it, you let him get in trouble for it.
Yeah,
Bring your behind home.
that's
'Cause
right.
I'm not gonna be that mother that's gonna bail you out every time you get locked up. I'm not gonna be that
Right.
mother. You get that one opportunity for me to bail you out of something, and I hope you learn from that lesson. Because other than that, you might as well talk to your father. Maybe he can help you. I'm not gonna be that mother
I
that
agree.
enables my kids to keep like. I'm probably more strict than their father.
Right. Okay.
I'm probably more strict than their father. And I don't know if it comes from just being a single mother
Mm-hmm.
and trying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he tells me all the time, I'm very overprotective. He like, Mom, you need to chill sometimes.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
That's the world we live in. Like you should be happy I'm overprotected.
Right. Right.
Like the world is crazy right now.
Yes, it
And he
is.
just like, Mom, ain't nothing gonna happen to me. It can. It
Right.
can.
It can. Yeah.
Like, nah, so I'm gonna do whatever it is to protect you because there's so many times I wish I had somebody there to protect me. And the fact that I didn't have that,
Hmm.
maybe that's why I'm overprotective as well.
Right.
Because the times I needed protection, I didn't have it. It was
Right.
always me for myself, you know what I mean?
Right.
So them, I always want them to know like they're protected.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Hey, they got a good mother and father, obviously.
They do have a great mother and father, they do. Their father is like I'm so happy we at a place where we at, and it took us some years, but I'm so happy and grateful because when we was together, that was like the most miserable but teaching experience in
Hmm.
relationship I had. Like their father did like a lot of things at the time that I thought was beyond disrespect.
Right.
And people will always just see my reaction to stuff.
Hmm.
And so for a long time, like I would get labeled as this crazy woman and I was this and I always had an attitude or I'm always showing out or cussing somebody out or doing this. And it's like, but do y'all know what's being done to me?
Right.
Like y'all quick to judge me, but nobody knows like what's going on behind closed doors. So
Right.
that would always bother me because I'm like, the things he did, which I'm not gonna go like into detail.
Right.
It seemed like I'm bashing him because I'm never gonna do that because I have too much respect for my kids and him.
Right. Right.
And you know what I mean? It's although I'm telling my story and telling my truth, I don't want to be telling somebody else's story because he may see it from a different
Right.
perspective. So do
Respect.
that. But for the things that he did, it allowed other people to think it was okay to disrespect me because they saw him disrespecting me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Get it?
So I spent that relationship most of the time being in defense mode.
Right.
Like I always felt like I had to defend myself because people was trying me and disrespecting me, and I knew it came from them knowing and seeing him disrespect me. And it's like
Hmm.
a real teachable moment in my life, and it opened my eyes up more to like really study people
Hmm.
because I the bonds that I thought I had with people they wasn't as strong as I thought they was.
Right.
You
Right.
know, a lot of people smiled in my face and played dumb, and I get it. You know, it's not your business to tell, but the way it wasn't so much of what he did;
Hmm.
it was how he did it and who he was doing it with.
Right.
And then to find out years later, like certain people that I had bonds with always knew about, the stuff that was going on. It's like nobody want to go say shit. Like,
Right.
y'all
Right.
was just keep having me around these people, keep having them around me. I'm in their house, they in my house, and it's like, that
Disrespect.
turned, I turned into somebody else. Like I lost myself, and I was like always angry, and I was very depressed, and that's when I knew like the relationship was over. Like the relationship really had been over years ago, but we just didn't end it.
Right. Okay.
But I knew it had to be over. I'm like, this man don't even realize like I'm depressed. Like he don't pay that much enough attention to me to realize like I'm constantly always drinking. I'm constantly always partying. I'm constantly always smoking weed and getting high. Just
Right.
to numb, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Just to numb myself because
Right.
I had accepted so much, and I did, and it had got very overwhelming. But I also take accountability for accepting it and allowing him to think it was okay, and for, also making his life hell, because it's like, you did this to me.
Yeah.
But I felt like the things that was happening to me, I felt like whatever relationships that he had or women that he was with that really broke his heart, I felt like he was just taking all that shit out on me.
Right. Right.
And so then, just okay, you mess up one time and then you give them another chance
Mm-hmm.
and mess up again. And it's like that second chance and that third chance turned into a habit
Mm.
of just constantly accepting
Yeah.
things. And
Yeah.
wow, it just got out of control. So it's like, I'm finna make your life hell. I'm finna cuss you out every day. I'm finna go through your shit every day. You know what I mean? And I want to apologize for that because I also had a choice to like, I could have left you. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
I didn't have to stay with you.
Mm-hmm.
And why I stayed with him, like I don't have an answer for that really. But I don't know how we last 13 years. I really don't know because
13.
all we was making each other's life miserable. And I don't know his reasons for doing what he did,
Mm-hmm.
but when I moved to Atlanta, that was about 7 years ago. Like that, a year after I had been here, he called me one morning and he was like, I just want to apologize, for the stuff that I did to you and all this other stuff. And at the time, I was like, I don't need it. Like, apologize to me the way you was disrespecting me in front
Right.
of everybody. You know what I
Right.
mean? But
Mm-hmm.
then I had to think about it. It was like he apologizing in his way, like just accept. You know what I mean? Just accept it. Like you can't tell somebody how to apologize. He apologizing, and he
Right.
don't have to.
Right.
I thought about it, and I was like, well, I made his life hell as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted him to be miserable because I was miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, because you was doing things that you knew was hurtful, and
Mm.
then you allow other people to do things to me that you knew was hurtful,
Right.
and you not once, like I didn't care what we was going through. I'm not gonna let nobody out. You know what I mean? On the outside, disrespect him. No matter how he
Right.
was treating me, what
Right.
we was
Right.
going
Right.
through, it's like, no, you ain't finna disrespect him. And I feel like I didn't get that same protection back.
Right.
And I felt like, I was betrayed by him and so many other people. It just I had to leave. Like
Right.
once we separated, when he got with the woman that he's married to now, like I knew I had to get out of there because I felt like I had been holding so much in,
Mm-hmm.
and I in my head I'm thinking like these people think I'm a sucker.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because when I was younger, like, I was quick to fight. Like,
Right.
oh, you ain't finna try me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
Right.
finna handle your ass right now. And then when I had kids, like, I kind of toned down some. And I was like, because I'm not reacting how I'm usually acting, like, I kind of felt like a sucker. And I felt like they was looking at me like a sucker. So it's
Yeah.
like, nah, dog. Like, you really don't know me.
Right.
You don't
Right.
know all this stuff I got built up inside me. Like, dog, you can get it. Anybody can get it. And then I was like, dog, just leave. Put
Right.
yourself in a new environment. Because I used to pray. I used to pray for that relationship to end.
Right. Right.
And I used to wanted to end so bad, and I knew I didn't have the courage to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And why, I don't know. And I know he wanted to leave, and I don't know what was his reason for even saying. But that day when he called, I was like, he really didn't have to like apologize.
Right.
And I understood his assignment for being in my life
Right. So, Cherie,
after I moved away.
with that assignment, we're going to come right back. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, we'll be right back. We are here to finish off the continuation of part 2 of the live diary of Bella Cherie. So now, Cherie, the stage is yours.
Yeah. But I think I left off where I was saying I understood their father's assignment.
Mm,
Like I feel like we all come into to each other's life for a reason.
right.
And so after moving to Atlanta and having that time to myself away from all the distractions, it's like I'm not even mad at him no more. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Uh-huh.
Because in the beginning, like I hated this man. You know, because I'm like, what did I do to deserve some of the things that he was doing in a way, and the way that he was doing it to me was like so disrespectful. But then I'm like, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. Like I feel like certain people are sent in your life to do certain things in a certain way, and it has to come from that person in order for you to get it. Like you're not going to get it from nobody else.
Right.
So
Right.
he did exactly what he was supposed to do in the way he was supposed to do it.
Got
And
it.
once I realized that, it's like I can't be mad at him because I also was sent in his life for whatever reason, you know what I
Right.
mean? So
Mhm.
I took a lot from that, and it it actually brought us closer not being together.
Wow.
Not being together because we can fully now be able to communicate.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? We can
Yeah.
fully be able to respect each other because I was also disrespecting him, you know, by going through his stuff, you
Right.
know, the way that I would speak to him, but it was all out of hurt and anger.
Right.
But still, that's like no excuse, you know what I
Right.
mean? Because
Yeah.
again, we all have a choice to either stay with a person or leave, and I could have left when first started happening, and I didn't want to use my kids like as an excuse, but I knew it was some things he shared about me. I mean, shared to me. And I really felt like we both needed to create an environment for our children so they wouldn't go through what we went through as children, or
Right.
they would have what we didn't have as children.
Right.
So I didn't want to use them as an excuse, but I guess I kind of stayed around, you know, for that. I guess that's part of the reason why I stayed around. Other than that, I don't know. Like why I stayed. Again, I just wanted to be loved, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just loved by somebody. It was
Yeah.
like you the first person. He was the first person like I met that I felt like I can be myself around,
Right.
and he was the first person that I can say that I like fully trusted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because it took a lot for me to trust people, and I really don't know what went wrong, like how it started going wrong.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's just when I met him, you know, he was like this quiet, laid back type dude.
Yeah.
And the first day I met him, I was at his sister's house. And I had met Ducey, his brother, before I met him. Like I didn't know Ducey had a brother.
Right.
And I used to hear their sister friends like talk about how fine her brothers was.
Mm.
But I knew Ducey was her brother. I just had never met Ace
Right. Right.
and who Ace was. And one day he came to her house and he was like telling her how he had a cookout the day before and how he had all these dishes and his apartment was messed up and he needed help, you know, cleaning up. And it was just me and her there. And I was like bored as hell. I didn't have nothing to do. And I didn't even know that was Ducey brother at the time. I just was like, they look, they looked like twins to me
Right.
if you just glanced at them. So I was like, damn, he looked like Deucey.
Hmm.
And then I was like, well, shit, I'll help you. And he was
Right.
like, all right. So we walked down to his apartment and, I started helping him when we start talking, getting to know each other. And we went and got some drinks and some food and came back to his apartment. And I ended up falling asleep. And he let me, sleep in his room and he slept on the couch. And that right there, I was like, I think I love this man. Like, I woke up, my clothes was on. He ain't take advantage of me. He ain't
Right.
violate me.
Right.
He ain't try to make no moves or touch on me or nothing like that. And so I was like, I think I love this man. And I didn't even know him, you know what I mean? But I'm like, that meant a lot to me for you to
Right.
spend at a guy house and y'all have drinks and stuff and he not try to make a move. So I was like,
Right.
okay, he different.
Right.
And then, since that day, we like hung out more and hung out more and hung out more. But the closer we got, people didn't like me.
Wow.
I used to be like Ace up in that apartment with that young ass girl because she's 6 years older than me. And I used to be
Right.
like hearing these slick remarks and, people talking junk about me. I used to be like, what I do? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Exactly.
I didn't realize like the women, like I didn't realize how popular he was because every time we hung out, like he was always at his apartment, like chilling by himself and laid back and relaxing and stuff. So I never knew he like went out to clubs a lot and stuff like that. So when Ducey started coming in town, his brother, they will always go out and stuff, and he'll just leave me. And I used to be like, well, damn. I was used to always being around him and hanging out with him, and I'm like, that's kind of effed up. But that, I think that's when things
Mm.
started to shift because I started hearing all this stuff about him. And I'm like, this can't be like real.
Right.
Like he can't be that way.
Right.
He
Right.
can't be the
Mm.
guy that I met. Like he can't be. And then I started like noticing certain things and I started listening to hearing people conversations. And it's like, oh, like you straight playing me, but
Right.
it's okay. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But again, hey, he did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I understood the assignment on this one. Yeah, but I'm glad we at a place where we at now because that's he my dog. Like my son tell me I'm his dog, and he say his father his G, and I'm like, son, you gonna have to come up with another name. But hey,
That's
father,
so dope
that's my
though.
dog.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't talk a lot, but just for us to be at this place after all the stuff we went to, some people will still be, what I mean, hating each other for the rest of their lives, and I'm
Right.
glad we not at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like so weird because when I was pregnant, for a minute, I didn't tell nobody I was pregnant.
Right.
And I remember he sent Ducey to pick me up from work one day because he couldn't get me. And Ducey, I was like with Zanaya, I was real sick. And he picked me up from work and he was just looking in the rearview mirror. And I was trying to hold it in. I had to throw up and I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to hold it in because, when you start throwing up, people, they first perception is that you're pregnant. And I
Right.
didn't want nobody to know at the time. And so I was like holding it in. He was looking at me. He was like, you all right? You need to get something to eat. And I was like, yeah, I probably do. So he stopped and got me something to eat. And then the closer we got to the apartment, he was like, my brother know. And I was like, no, what? He was like, do my brother know? And I was like, yeah. He was like, all right. And he ain't say nothing else.
Wow.
I was like, really weird. I'm like, how the hell you know?
Right.
You know what I mean? But he was like such a cool guy as well.
That's
But
good.
yeah,
So
these relationships.
I gotta ask, with this live diary of Bella Cherie, are you looking to make this a book? Because I think it'd be so dope. That's just my opinion, as best friend. This is just my opinion. Or are you going to continue doing this live for the family, your Bella Cherie family, my Let's Talk About It family? I mean, where is this going? Because I love it.
Um, I started writing a book years ago about myself, and then I kind of got discouraged, and then I stopped. And then working on my poetry book, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should, but I'm like, if it's called The Live Diary of Bella Cherie, it's like no need. But maybe in a book I'll go into more detail about things, but
Right.
I I want to write a book and then I don't because I still don't want to feel like I'm telling somebody else's story while telling
Right.
mine. You know
Okay.
what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be disrespecting no one, even though it's my truth and it's things that happened to me. It's like people have moved on with their lives, so I don't want to like bring that back into their lives. So I'm like going back and forth on whether I should
Right.
write a. I'm like, if you're gonna write a book, then you might as well like put in the details. But
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not here to bash no one, you know what I mean? No
Right.
matter what I went through with them or how I feel about them back then or today. I don't want to do that because especially when it comes to their father, I have so much respect for my kids.
Right.
And I don't want how I feel about him or how I felt about him or the things he done to me. I don't want I want them to have their own perception of him. I don't want
Right.
that to come from me, and that's why I never like talk bad about their father in front of them or to
Right.
them. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know, I might, but if I do, I doubt it if I go like detail into detail
Right.
about certain things, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
That's right.
Especially things that happen to me from other people, but when it comes to like my kid's father and my mother and stuff like that, I don't think I will go into great detail with that. I'll I would rather they tell like their own
That's
stories,
right. Yeah, I get it. I
you
get it.
know what I mean?
So can we look forward to a part four?
Yeah, I can look forward to as many parts as you want, because y'all done got me out my comfort zone, you know what I mean? Y'all done got me like talking, and I'm like really shy until I get comfortable with you. And that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that like takes a minute because I'm very observant of people's energy and the way they move,
Right.
stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
And so it's like, but I'm like doing it now. So
Yes, and I want to say thank you for sharing all this on my platform. I love our girl chat.
I want to say thank you to you because if it wasn't for you, like I would still be, you know what I mean? Because I was in a process of starting my own podcast,
Right.
for myself and for like teens to have their own podcast. But it's like I kept talking myself out of it because I'm like, nobody gonna support me, nobody gonna listen to it,
Yes, they
nobody gonna
will.
watch it and
Yes.
stuff like that. And so I'm like, girl, get out your head. Like I'm always in my head,
Yeah.
always, because it's always
Yeah.
stuff is constantly coming in, and I can't
Yeah.
focus. I have trouble focusing on one thing at a time.
Right.
That's why my book is done, but it's like, but wait a minute, something else came to me. Let me put that in. Let me take this out.
Right.
I
Right.
keep going back and forth. It's like just put the damn book out, however it is. Put it out.
Put it out there.
Put out the clothing line, like you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Yes, put it all out there.
we keep
Yeah.
talking about it, just do it. And I gotta talk to myself like that. And
Yeah.
that's why I also want to say, like, people, spend as much time talking to your kids as you can and loving on them as much as you can because it's very important. Like, pay close attention to what you don't say to them
Mm-hmm.
and to what you say to them.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I don't think my mother realized that she never like complimented me. She might have when I was little. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna say it never happened, but as far back as I can remember,
Mm-hmm.
for the part that I remember, my mother never complimented me. So when I got older and people used to tell me like I'm beautiful or I'm pretty, it's
Mm-hmm.
like I am. And they said like, you don't think you're pretty? Like, especially when men say it. And I'm like, I am. And they're like, you don't think you're pretty? And it's not like that. It's just, well, why? I never heard it from, like my mother
Yeah.
and people like that. And so I grew up not thinking I was pretty.
Right.
And, my daughter would come every morning when I'm getting ready for work, and she would just stand in the mirror with me while I'm doing my hair or something like that. And she'd be like, Mom, you so beautiful. Look at you, Mom. You
Oh,
so cute. Look what you got on today. Look at your hair, like every morning. And so I'm
wow.
like, yeah. And my daughter telling me, like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm,
that's
you
right.
know,
You are.
that helped me like build not that I really had like low self-esteem like
Right.
that, but it's just I never saw me as being beautiful and pretty. I'm like, shit, I'm just regular.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
I
get.
never thought like real highly of myself.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. Same here.
Thanks
I
to
get it.
her. You
Mm.
know, not that other people's compliments didn't matter, but it's like
Right.
my told me I'm beautiful. So I'm
Right.
beautiful.
So that's right.
I love that girl. I love both of them. Like, man,
Oh my
you
God.
gotta love on your kids, you know what I
You
mean?
have to. You really have to.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Bella, I want to say thank you. I know I say so a lot, guys. I'm sorry. But I want to say thank you for coming to the show. I am so looking forward to part four. I'm looking forward to part four. We're gonna chat that out and write it down and see what we're gonna go from here. But I want to say
Mhm.
thank you again for coming through. Let's talk about it, 803. Anything else you would like to share with the people?
I just want to give a shout out to all the fathers, the black, beautiful black fathers like y'all doing y'all thing. Even for the mothers that may be giving y'all a hard time, like keep pushing for it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more of y'all child than it is ours.
Right.
Here you see, you know what I'm saying? But it come from you. So yeah, like y'all keep doing y'all thing. I love y'all. All the black men out there, the good and the bad. And
That's
I'm gonna keep supporting y'all. And I'm gonna keep, you know what I'm saying, going to war with y'all and fight for y'all and do whatever it is that y'all need me to do. So I love y'all.
Y'all heard
Love
it
me.
here. Y'all heard it here from Bella Cherie. Bella, thank you again. We're gonna talk soon, guys. Thank you.